What if emotions were transport? Emotions are the engine of our actions, and transport is a symbol of movement and direction. Sometimes we rush forward at full speed like a race car of anger, and sometimes we stand still like a bicycle with a flat tire of fear. By comparing emotions to vehicles, we can better understand how to control them and channel our energy. Anger is a racing car. Steps on the gas, but doesn't think about the consequences. Flies at breakneck speed, risking crashing into the first obstacles. Hard to stop if you don't learn to hit the brakes in time. Joy is a balloon. Flies high, but sometimes deflates quickly. Fills the heart with lightness, but in strong winds it can carry too far. To stay in flight longer, it's important to toss in fuel, self-care. Fear is like a bicycle with a punctured wheel. You seem to be riding, but you're afraid you're going to fall off. Every movement is difficult, and anxiety makes it even harder. The key is not to stop, but to learn to balance despite the fear. Calmness is a train. It moves smoothly if the tracks are laid correctly. It leads to the goal confidently and without unnecessary jerks, if the route is well thought out. However, if the tracks are crooked, the train will start to shake, just as nerves do if you lose your balance. Sadness is an old boat. You can row, but the current doesn't always help. Sometimes you just float, not knowing where the wave will hit. But if you pick up the oars and set a direction, you can find your way to the light. The emotion of disgust could be a rusty, creaking rubbish truck that rumbles along carrying a stinky load. It drives slowly through the streets, leaving behind a plume of foul odor and puddles of sticky liquid. Its body is overflowing with unnecessary junk that threatens to fall out every now and then, causing everyone around it to grimace in disgust. This is the essence of disgust, the desire to avoid contact with something that seems alien, dangerous, or simply unpleasant. Surprise is a catapult. It's a sudden takeoff, an unexpected leap into the unknown, when you're suddenly thrown upwards and you don't know where you'll land. Like a catapult, this emotion can launch you into elation or, on the contrary, into shock, leaving your heart beating faster. Inspiration is a sailing ship catching a tailwind. It is the moment when the sails are filled with a fresh breeze of ideas, and the ship glides easily on the waves of creativity. The water around sparkles, reflecting the sunlight, and a light mist gives the landscape a mystical depth. Uncharted islands of opportunity loom on the horizon, beckoning for new discoveries. The wind of change can blow in different ways. Sometimes it lifts the ship to incredible speeds, and sometimes it fades away, forcing you to lie in wait. But a true captain of inspiration knows that the main thing is not to hurry, but to feel the rhythm of the sea and go where great ideas are born. Envy is an old but contrived car that stands still. This transport looks luxurious, a gleaming body, a powerful engine. However, there is one problem: it is on the handbrake. The driver, a man with envy, sits behind the wheel, nervously clutching the steering wheel and looking at the other cars passing by. He wants to drive, but instead of hitting the gas, he spends his time looking at other people's expensive cars, wishing he had one. Shame could be a rusty, half-broken tram traveling through the city with dirty, fogged windows. An old, creaky tram, with peeling paint, as if it were embarrassed by its shabbiness. On the front board, instead of the route, the word "sorry" flashes. Barely legible. This tram does not rush, but drags slowly, as if ashamed of itself, trying to pass unnoticed. Harmony as a vehicle is something smooth, balanced and graceful. For example, a light, hovering airship made of transparent glass. It resembles a mixture of an ancient oriental ship and a futuristic vessel, as if created for a leisurely journey above the clouds. Its shell slowly changes color, from warm golden shades to deep azure, reflecting the rhythm of nature and the breath of the world. Harmony does not strive for speed, it brings calmness, tranquility, a sense of complete balance. Passengers inside feel no gravity, and the seats seem to adjust to their posture, helping them to relax. The emotion of guilt might look like a decrepit, creaking carriage pulled by invisible horses that seem to drag it backwards, resisting forward movement. The cart's wheels are huge, but they stick in the mud, as if the road doesn't want to let it go any further. The carriage itself looks worn, with cracked windows and peeling paint, and dark marks are visible on its sides, as if ghosts of the past have left an imprint on its surface. The whole scene is immersed in a dim, gray light, and a thick fog hangs in the air, symbolizing uncertainty and regret. Regret as a vehicle is an ancient, rusty carriage that was once luxurious but is now covered in cracks and cobwebs. It moves slowly, creaking with each wheel, as if it doesn't want to go but is forced to. The wheels roll heavily on the wet ground, leaving deep tracks behind them. Instead of horses, translucent shadows, as if memories of the past are pulling her backwards. Tension hangs in the air, as if before a rainstorm. Somewhere in the distance, the muffled sound of dripping water can be heard, like tears falling to the ground. This vehicle is not traveling into the future, but in a circle, forcing its passengers to experience the same thing over and over again. If we imagine the emotion of love as a vehicle, it could be a flying ship. An airship floats in the boundless sky, its body as if woven of translucent petals, shimmering with pink, gold and lilac shades. Perhaps the ship moves not by the wind, but by the energy of love itself, to the place where it is waiting. This transport does not just deliver people, but connects hearts, awakens warm memories and fills those who travel on it with a sense of calm, warmth and unity.